Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
Hail Rotma. Oh, sorry, it's JD.
It is JD, and it is also John and Jenna, neither of whom have seen today's movie.
Hail Rotma.
Hail Ratma. We're in Duluth, and I told them I was going to go record in the parking garage by myself, and they both agreed that I should just record in the hotel room because Jenna, who never watches the movie Jenna, will forget everything that I'm about to spoil for her, and John probably will not ever see the movie. Oh, I'm gonna tell them everything. And we were gonna have Jenna just watch the movie on my tablet while we were recording this episode. I thought that would be very funny, but and we didn't do it. So hello
What's
everybody.
the point of having wild ideas if you don't do them then, Michelle?
Because we just drove 4.5 hours and I'm sleepy.
You still
That's
hey,
why.
look, you're not even the one who's got to do anything. Just like Jenna's right there. Tell her to get the tablet or the laptop or something and start watching the damn movie.
Oh, that sounds like so much effort.
But it's not effort for you, Michelle. This is my
No,
point.
we're all sweepy.
Oh, you wimp
I know.
children. Anyway, okay,
Yes,
so
that's
we're
us.
look, if you haven't caught on from the Hail Rotmas, we're talking about VHS Beyond today on We Watch Shudder. If this is your first time tuning in, first of all, hi, thank you for checking out the show. Second of all, I think you are in for a good one here today. The VHS franchise started, I want to say 2012 or 2013. Is that correct, Michelle? Something like that.
Probably around
Anyway,
there.
there
Yeah.
were three of them. There was VHS 1, VHS 2, and VHS Viral, and then the whole series kind of went dormant for a few years. And then it came back, this time with the participation of Shudder. In 2021, they did VHS 94. Michelle and I, by the way, were neither one of us really taken with that entry. I believe, Michelle, your score was a 1.75 and mine was a 2.5. We
That
were,
sounds about right. I'm pulling them all up because I was just trying to
yeah.
remember which one I gave a five.
And
Okay.
it's the one the third one, the one from just last year. The next one, VHS 99, we both gave 4 skulls to. That's the one with To Hell and Back at the end from the folks who made Deadstream, the Winter family, I believe, Edgar Winter
Alex
group.
Winter, somebody else.
But anyway, and then last year they did VHS 94. I gave it 4 skulls again. Michelle gave it the
No, you
5
did not.
skulls. I did not give it
I
four
am,
skulls.
or did you say 85 or 94?
85, the one from
Oh,
last year,
85 was
VHS
5 and
85.
4. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. 94 is the one that we both were really kind of iffy on.
1.75 and 2.5.
Yeah, and then we were both real big on 99 and 94. Michelle even to a greater extent, which and
You
these
said
movies,
it again. 99 and 85 we liked. You keep saying 94.
I'm sorry. Look, whatever.
No, it's okay. That's why I'm
And
getting screwed up.
my
Okay,
point
we're
is
good. It's so
also
many
if
numbers.
if memory serves, each one of these year after year has set a new record for the most like first day views or something like that for a drop on Shudder. The 99 beat 94. 85 beat 99. I'm fully expecting that VHS Beyond is probably going to beat VHS 85. My point is, this is one of the most hotly anticipated films of the month, and I'm super excited to talk about it.
Me too.
Yeah, I've just been. I know one of the biggest reasons, Michelle, that you've been looking forward to this one is 4 words that are directed by Kate Siegel.
Somewhat. Yeah, I also was excited about the Justin Long one though too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
wasn't even aware that Justin Long was involved with this until just before I started watching the film. And we're
Oh,
gonna
nice.
talk. We're actually gonna talk about that during the spoilers section. But
Okay.
look. Let's not waste any more time here. Let's dive right in. I'm gonna hit you with the descrippy script from Shudder website because it's one sentence and they actually pull it off this time because it's an anthology. What are you gonna say about it? Here it is. 6 new blood-curdling tapes place horror at the forefront of a sci-fi inspired hellscape. Directed by Jay Cheel, Jordan Downey, Virat Pal, Justin Martinez, Christian Long, Justin Long, Kate Siegel. VHS Beyond 2024, 114 minutes. Michelle,
Yeah.
you've already mentioned a couple of things on the social media. I know you said that there were 2 of the segments in this in particular that you were particularly big on, but if you would please give us your thorough, spoiler-free thoughts on VHS Beyond.
Yeah, my spoiler-free thoughts can be pretty thorough and pretty simple because this has 2 of my favorite segments, or very high up on the list of 2 of my like top segments from the entire VHS franchise. Those 2 alone would give it 5 skulls. There's one that I feel was not as strong, but the other 2 are also like probably around 4. This is a really, really solid VHS. It might be my favorite VHS, even though I loved VHS 85. So I am going with a 5. I'm predictable.
Five,
I liked it.
5 skulls once again for Michelle
I
for
like them.
VHS
Can't
Beyond. I
help it.
mean, I got to be honest with you. While I'm watching it, I was like, oh yeah, Michelle's just gonna. This is her
Yeah,
bag. I've
absolutely.
already predicted. Actually, well, we'll talk about that in just a minute. I want us to, before we get into the spoilers section, I want us to predict what each other's well, actually, our 2 favorites because so far as my spoiler-free thoughts go, very similar to yours. There are 2 in particular that are my very favorite. One, actually, that I think is my standout. I know which one is my very favorite very easily, but my number 2 is a very close second. And then there's one in particular that just really didn't work for me for a number of reasons, and we'll talk about that. And then the rest of it was really solid. And I'm just really curious to see if we're all like on the same plane here, if we're talking about the same ones. But I can definitely say, at least as of right now, I feel like this is overall my favorite entry in the VHS franchise. I'm still not going a full 5 skulls on this one because it's just not quite there. There are a couple of moments that just aren't quite there for me to bring it all together. But it's my favorite of the series. We're going 4.5.
4.5 from JD, a 5
This
from Michelle.
this movie, Michelle, is so good that in the light of the fact that I went back and looked and I gave both 85 and 99 4 skulls, I almost want to go back and watch VHS 94 again and see if maybe my thoughts on it have changed. I almost want to go back and watch VHS 1, 2, and VHS Viral at this point on just on how strong these last 3 at least in the franchise have been. This is, I don't even like anthologies, and I was all into this.
I do not want to go back and rewatch them. I like the first one, but second and viral, I'm okay.
Right on, right on. That's kind of what I hear. I know people who are fans of both 1 and 2. I don't know if I've ever spoken to somebody who will claim to have enjoyed Viral. I'm sure those people are out there. I've just never met any of them. Does Jenna
Glad
have
you exist.
spoiler-free thoughts on a movie she hasn't seen?
Jenna, what are your spoiler-free thoughts? Very briefly and spoiler-free, please.
It's a movie of segments.
It's a
It's a
movie of
movie of
segments, she
segments.
said. Yep. And then she stopped talking. So I think
Okay,
that might
hey,
be it.
That's my spoiler.
She says
those
that's it.
are
Okay.
frankly, I
Very
mean,
brief, to the point.
let's be honest. If you didn't know this was an anthology going in, that's kind of spoilery, though.
Oh, we've deemed it spoilery because they might not know it's an anthology. So you wound up spoiling it.
Oh.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is why you
Way to
didn't guest
go.
on the episode. Wow,
Way to go,
ruined it.
Jenna. Wow. Absolutely
Okay,
ridiculous. All
well,
right,
no
guys.
point recording.
I just said
Uh,
it's a movie.
She said she should have just said it's a movie, and I agree
right
with that.
on.
That would have been
By
so
the
much
way,
safer.
if you guys have time while you're there, you guys need to just hop in a car and go cruise the skyline in Duluth. It's a whole. I think the road is literally called Skyline Drive, and it's just weaves all the way. It's gorgeous. Go check it out, especially at this time of the year. Holy shit! I'm so jealous that you're
Oh,
there.
I haven't told people why I'm here yet.
Why are you there?
I am here for the haunted ghost ship.
Ooh, well, that should be a
Yeah,
good time. Hey,
the
Michelle,
big
where's my
historic
invitation?
ship. I don't think you'd want to come to this. I had to convince you to do haunted farms back home, and you're still not
I,
fully on
I,
board.
I, def- I definitely
Yeah,
would not have come along.
yeah. No, absolutely not. But it's on Lake Superior, and I am terrified of Lake Superior. It's too big.
Oh,
So we're here,
it's
and now I'm gonna go on a ship at night with very little lighting on a lake that I'm scared of, and I think this might be a thing that scares me, and I'm excited about that.
well. Speaking of Great Lakes, like Lake Superior, one time I flew into Chicago, and of course Chicago's right there on Lake Michigan, and the airplane had to do a big turnaround to make the runway approach, and we had to go out over Lake Michigan because I guess that's just how it is at O'Hare. Most of the approaches come in from Lake Michigan, but of course as the airplane turns, it tilts, and part of us was tilted from towards the ground on top of the above the lake. And the lake was very placid and serene that day, and the sky was very clear, and I couldn't tell where the sky ended and the lake began, and it was fucking terrifying.
That
like
sounds awful.
I became physically disoriented and mildly nauseous. I had to close my eyes and wait until we leveled out. It was real creepy.
That sounds awful. No, thank you.
Anyway, spoiler section. Guys, if you don't want us to spoiler any of this spoiler, if you don't want to have any of this spoiled for you before you get a chance to see it, stop listening now and come back when you're done. Michelle,
Yeah.
you know what we're here to do. We're here to talk about
Yeah.
this film, and we can't talk about this film unless you do an impromptu plot recap for Jenna, who never watches the movies, and everybody else like her.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will do an impromptu recap of this movie that Jenna has not seen.
Hey, I got an
John
idea.
also has not seen it. Yes. Should I
Why
tell
don't you
them
do
about it?
Why don't you do an impromptu recap of this movie that some people might not have seen?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I should do an impromptu recap of the movie. Really good idea, JD. I wish I had thought of it. Okay.
Dill
So,
pickle.
oh my God. You just go back
I
to your
gotta stop
medicine.
doing that.
Okay, so there are technically six segments. One of those is that overarching thing that VHS likes to do. That begins with basically like those typical alien like interviewing different experts about like how believable certain footage is, and they're all alluding to this big alien footage that was recorded on two VHS tapes. The five individual segments are Stork, Dream Girl, Live and Let Dive, Fur Babies, and Stowaway. Stork, as the name implies, which is why the name Stork is very bad because it is very spoilery. So I don't like that they named it that, but essentially, it's a bunch of police officers who go to raid a house of kidnappers, but then it turns out the kidnappers are actually zombies, and that some sort of meteorite crashed into this house and is now infecting them all. And they have chainsaws, and there's a lot of squelching going on in that one. And the babies have all morphed into these terrifying things. And then there's a creature up in the attic with this insanely long neck that is like killing dudes and then barfing the blood into the baby's mouth. So all that happens. That's Stork. They take out this infestation. Dream Girl is this guy who is trying to get like kind of paparazzi-esque footage of this number one celebrity, aka the Dream Girl. This is like a Bollywood music video type thing. So she does like this little sexy dance, and they do that like a music video. And then the one guy sneaks into her trailer to try to get footage, but she's crying in there. And then he is hiding, and he turns around, and there is a face and a bowl of gel. And so he's like, well, shit, something's wrong here. I should probably leave. So then he leaves and she sees him. But then instead of leaving like a smart person, he instead decides to talk to her and asks if she's sad and if she's okay. And then she tells him that she likes his face and maybe she should have a face like that. And then all hell breaks loose because she rips off her own face. She's some sort of like robot android thing. And then she just goes on like a murder spree. Everybody dies. At the end, she rips his face off and she puts it over her own face, kind of like Leatherface, but like Leatherface had a lot more he made an art form of it. She does not know what she's doing. And now she's a robot who's gonna rule the world as a goddess, I guess. And then Live and Let Dive is a guy and a ton of his friends are going skydiving for his birthday. And as they are up in the plane, preparing to leap out of it, they look out one of the windows and they see a gigantic UFO. And then a bunch of Air Force people come over to like take down the UFO. And now there's an alien on the ship. And of course, they skydive, but in the wrong kind of way because everybody just falls out of the airplane. Some people never have their parachute open up. His parachute opens up, but unfortunately murders the guy he was jumping with, who was like his best friend. And that guy's head is now like 5 feet away on the part of the parachute. It was wild. And they're in this orange grove getting hunted by aliens. Everybody dies. That's a pretty good one. And then we got Fur Babies, which is a lady who runs a doggy daycare. And she is being like I guess there's like a PETA essentially activist group that doesn't like that she taxidermies dogs, and two of them decide to go undercover, and they sneak in, and then they get turned into dogs. That's all I can say. Like she just decides that humans are lesser than dogs, so all humans should become dogs. And you know what? She's got kind of a point there. And then Stowaway, which is a girl who goes out to the desert because there have been alien sightings. And she finds the UFO and she goes in the UFO. And then the UFO turns into a UFO no because it takes off. And now she's stuck in space with these micro technology things that constantly repair her. So as she's dying, she can't die and she becomes an abomination. And then we end with the abduction adduction segment, which is we finally get to see the footage that everybody has been talking about throughout VHS of these two like damning pieces of evidence. And you know what? After watching the other things, it did not live up to the hype. It was just kind of like an alien, like, I don't know, birthing eggs out of a guy. Who cares? Like, whatever. Women do it all the time. Who cares? So that's it. That's VHS Beyond. And I did not know the theme was aliens until I got into the second segment. And then I went, this makes a lot of sense. Cool. VHS Beyond.
Yeah, so something I want to say right away there that actually did impact my overall opinion of this movie is the theme was not aliens. The theme as presented was that it was sci-fi horror. And the fact that like 4 of the 6 stories are all alien stories, that took a little bit away from this for me. I was hoping for a little bit more variety, and that simple fact in itself. Now, we'll talk about each one of these individually, I suspect, but that definitely was an issue for me. Did it bother you in any way at all?
Well, I know that Fur Babies does not fit the alien thing.
Neither
But
does
Dream Girl,
Dream Girl.
I was gonna say Dream Girl, I could make an argument that wherever that technology came from so that he could build this type of android, there could be a deeper meaning to it. And that
Yeah,
he
but
didn't just like,
they never discuss that as any element of the story whatsoever, so that's purely hypothetical. Like,
oh
at
yeah,
no point whatsoever do aliens actually play a part in the story as it's told.
but since it's an alien theme almost, that's why I
But
believe in
it's
the hypothetical.
but it's not an alien theme. It was sold as a sci-fi theme. The alien theme is just what it just happens to be. That's the point I'm making.
It's all strange concepts to me, and that is the definition of alien.
Hmm. Well, then I guess we're just going to agree to disagree on that one. That was it. It was something
Like
about
a
it
foreign
that
concept. Something is alien to me. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's what you're saying at all now. I think you're being glib and facetious. But anyway, I'm just
Oh,
saying
big
that
word for
was
you.
good. Wait, what do you mean good word for me? I'm Mr. fucking vocabulary over here.
I know. Captain Pedantic. Mr.
No,
Vocabulary, that's your secret identity.
that was something about it though that did bring me down just a little bit. I was hoping for a little bit more variety in the subjects. That being said, it wasn't such a big deal that it made me not enjoy anything here. Well, we won't say that entirely. So as we said in the spoiler section, we each had 2 of these that we thought were really good and one that didn't really work for us. So what I want to do here is I want to try and predict what those were. Do you want to go first or should I go first?
Well, I think you know one of mine because I could
Sure.
not help but tweet about it.
Yeah.
So if you want to try to guess my 2 favorites, then I will try to guess your 2 favorites.
Yeah, you did mention, and this is kind of not fair in that sense. I didn't even think about it until just now when you mentioned it.
It would
I know
also be
you.
obvious, though. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and again, I knew you were particularly interested in it. I knew it was directed by Kate Siegel. I did not know it was going to be written by Mike Flanagan. But I'm guessing one of your 2 favorites is Stowaway.
Of course.
And then I think your other favorite was Live and Let Dive. But don't say yes or no. Don't say yes. Oh, okay.
No,
No, that's
sorry.
all right.
No, you were right.
No, that's okay.
You're right.
Yeah, so Live and Let Dive. And then I think the one that didn't work for you so much would have been Fur Babies.
No. Fur
Oh,
Babies is a
okay.
middle one for me.
Okay. All right. So I again, to be fair, I kind of half gave away one of yours already. But let's move then to your guesses. Which one do you want to do first? The one I didn't like or the ones I did?
I think that you did not like Dream Girl.
No.
Okay.
The one I didn't care for was Fur Babies. For a couple of reasons. One we'll talk about because again, I assume we're going to go through these one by one here in a moment just to give our thoughts on each one, and I'll talk more about that. But a big part of it for me was that I felt that, again, Fur Babies was the least sci-fi of these to me. Like, I get how it kind of, like, I can see how it sort of qualifies, but that definitely impacted it for me just in what I was hoping for with the way I was coming into this movie. But yeah, I want to say I don't think it's bad. It just didn't work for me.
That's fair. Do you want me to guess your 2 favorites?
Yes, and I don't get. I don't need you to tell me which one was number 1 and which one was number 2. Just go ahead.
Good, because I have no idea.
Okay.
Live and Let Dive.
That is one of them. Yes,
That
we are
one's
agreed
like
on that one.
universally beloved. And then fuck it, let's go with Dream Girl. No, I'm kidding.
It was, yes.
Was it Dream
yes.
Girl? Okay.
Yeah. And I will say right away, not only was it Dream Girl, but Dream Girl is my favorite one in this film.
Really?
Yeah,
Controversial. Okay.
How is that controversial?
Oh, I watched this at 8 a.m., so I've had time
Oh.
to read forum discussions and
Oh,
see which
okay.
ones, and not a single comment has said Dream Girl is their favorite.
Oh, really? Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a good transition for us here. You've done a little bit of that research. What, at least on what you've looked into, seems to be the consensus about this film so far as the most enjoyed segments and that sort of thing?
Live and Let Dive is basically number 1 on 90% of the comments that I read.
Okay.
Fur Babies is very divisive. People
Okay.
either love it or hate it, and
I
it's
can
not
see
middle
that.
for most. Yep. Dream Girl, there's very little discussion at all about that.
Wow.
And Stork seems to be the one that people universally hated. If they,
Really?
yeah, they really did not like Stork.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's
And
just
then
from
what
like
about
general forum discussions on the first day that it got released on Shudder.
stowaway and abduction adduction?
Uh, some people really, really like Stowaway. I'm a little annoyed because we'll get into it, but I really wanted to find a lot of information about Stowaway and I wanted somebody to analyze it with me. And it seems that the people who are very vocal about liking Stowaway are the people like me who are like, I hope there's somebody out there who has some information, and none of us do. That's
That's what you
most of the
get
discussion.
for liking
I know.
unintelligible films. Oh, we'll talk about that in
I
a
know.
minute.
Oh, can I actually make a comment about Stowaway and fur babies just kind of quickly? Because you
Yeah,
said
of
that
course.
you knew I was interested in the Stowaway one. I did not look up who did which ones before I started
Okay.
this. I knew
Okay.
Justin Long directed one and I knew Kate Siegel directed one. That's all I knew. I did not know which ones. And while watching this, I correctly guessed which one was Justin Long's, aka Fur Babies, and which one was Kate Siegel's Stowaway. Stowaway in particular, I could tell because it was the only one that seemed to really tap into an emotional thing of her being like a bad mom and that stuff. And I went, this seems like a Kate Siegel, Mike Flanagan thing. And then when I saw that he had written it, I went, oh yeah, dude loves his monologues.
Oh
So
yes. Oh
I was
yes.
like, oh, so for the record, was not biased. I love Stowaway before it was confirmed that that
Okay.
was actually a Siegel Flanagan thing. And I was like, I guess I just really like their stuff. So once again,
Cool.
I'm a Flanagan of Flanagan.
Now, before, what I don't want you to do now is say anything specifically yet about how you knew that Justin Long and is it his brother that he did this with?
I think the
Uh,
name was Christian Long, and I'm not sure.
but I have a strong feeling that I know exactly why you were able to make that connection, and I think it's part of the
Hmm.
reason why that one didn't work for me. We'll talk about that
Okay.
when we get to it. So, do we want to just go ahead and talk about the frame story first? Because this one, I mean, it is a frame story, but it doesn't play into the overall film. It's just its own story broken up into segments and happens to fit into the overall theme. It's also the first of four of these that has something to do with aliens, and that's abduction,
Yeah.
adduction.
I
How'd you feel
have a
about
quick
this one?
question for you. Well,
Sure.
I have a question. Because I did not look into it. Is it confirmed that they said this is supposed to be sci-fi, not aliens?
Yes.
Okay.
It's right in the
Interesting.
description, Michelle. Six new
Yeah, which I
blood-curdling
did
takes
not
place horror at the
read.
forefront of a sci-fi inspired hellscape.
Yeah, but sci-fi inspired hellscape encompasses aliens.
Right, but it also encompasses a whole lot more things than
Yeah.
aliens.
No, that's fair. I
Yeah,
just
that's my
with
point.
the overall story even being about aliens and talking about whether footage is real or not, that's why
No,
I don't know.
all
I
the
feel like I'm missing
all
something with Dream Girl and Fur
all
Babies.
all the promotional stuff that I read coming into it, all it ever said was sci-fi horror. I don't
See, and this
ever
is why you
remember
don't
anything
read promotional
whatsoever.
stuff.
Right,
Just
but
don't read it.
this is promotional stuff from the company, Michelle. So that's how the movie
Yeah.
was sold, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't read that. Don't read
Well,
it.
my point is that that's why you're wrong about this being an alien movie.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you said that it was it colored your expectations
Yeah.
because you went into it this expecting it to be overall sci-fi. I knew nothing about it and went into it just being like, I wonder what beyond means. Oh, cool, aliens. And I had a much better time.
But so
Don't read promotional stuff. Don't
am
do
I
it.
just am I just supposed to know nothing at all? Like, am I just supposed to be like,
Yes.
well, I'm not even sure this is a horror movie. Let's just sit down and watch
Yes.
it and see what happens.
That's what I do, and that's why I watch
You
65
do
movies
not.
a month. Yes, I do.
You absolutely deliberately watch horror movies, Michelle,
I
and you
no, I
know they're horror
accidentally
movies going in.
No, I accidentally watched Dora the Explorer earlier. I thought it might be a horror because Dora the Horror Explorer, but it wasn't, and that was really disappointing. I
Look,
just assume
I'll,
everything's a horror movie until proven
all I'm
wrong.
saying is it's absolutely not my fault that I was let down that this was supposed to be sci-fi horror and I got 4 out of 6 alien stories.
Yeah, no, that's fair. To me, if I went into
Oh,
it
for
with
Christ's sake.
like, oh,
We
this
just
is
went around in circles like this over and over and over, and we come back to, oh, yeah, that's fair. God damn it,
well,
Michelle.
yeah, you were much more prone to arguing, whereas I was just curious if that was confirmed because I truly did not know. But if I had gone into this and been like, oh,
Right.
general sci-fi,
But,
oh, fuck yeah,
but,
tons of
okay,
aliens.
okay. I want to point out, though, that this is what happened. You asked, was it confirmed? I said, yes, that's what all the promotional material said, and that's what it says right here in the description on the website. And then you proceeded to say, yeah, well, sci-fi encompasses aliens. And I was like, yeah, but it encompasses a whole... You asked the question, I gave you the
Mhm.
answer, and then you escalated the situation.
Well, you're already very hostile about the alien situation, so
Oh, for God's
if
sake,
I
I'm
may.
not hostile.
Men always getting
Please. Oh,
emotional.
for
God, this is why you
Christ.
can't even be
Oh,
president.
God. Oh, there are a lot of reasons why I can never be president.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do like that you can watch John sleep while we're recording this. By
All of
the
this,
way, that's
all of
added
this
bonus.
is, all of this animosity is entirely because you didn't invite me to go to Duluth.
And you would not have wanted to come.
That's not the point, Michelle. It's not the point. I would have liked the invitation.
Okay,
I would have
JD,
liked the
next time we come to
opportunity to
Duluth.
decline.
Okay, JD, would you like to come to Duluth with us?
Well, that depends. Are you going to be doing a ghost ship the next time?
Yes.
Well, then no, I don't want to go. Thank you
Okay.
for asking,
Okay,
though. I
cool.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Good, because we're already in Duluth.
This is wow. I just realized that indirectly the last 7 or 8 minutes of this has definitely been the therapy portion of this podcast. But man, there was some whoo. All right, I feel a whole lot better. Thanks for putting up with my nonsense. Let's talk about this movie. Abduction, Adduction. How did you feel about this one overall?
Uh, I really,
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Michelle, but I just fucking people who are tuning in for the first time are gonna be like, Jesus, do these people even like each other?
I'm chill over here. I don't know what you're on about. I am just
Oh.
scribbling on my notepad. I'm good.
Oh, I'm chill, she says.
I'm not upset at all. Jenna, do I look upset? JD doesn't
I
believe that I'm
didn't.
not upset.
I didn't say you were. Michelle, I
You'll
didn't
find
say
out
you
why
were.
I'm upset later.
I didn't say you were
Oh,
upset.
he's just yelling now. You can't even
Oh,
hear. He's
oh,
just
Jesus.
screaming.
This is.
Oh, he called you a bitch. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
She's just gonna she's gonna listen to this
Wow.
episode and be like, Michelle cannot be trusted.
Oh
But we
my
already knew
God.
that. He did not. He
Mr.
said you're a very nice
Roller,
lady, but he
you need
wishes
to
you would shut up.
control your wife, sir. Oh yeah, I said it. I said Mr.
I already knew that.
Oh
He
God.
did truthfully say, Mr. Roller, control your wife, and that one I'm not lying about.
That's
Okay. Well, let's
anyway.
get into these segments. This
Holy
is the
shit,
weirdest like
this,
recording
this
situation
is a
ever,
good one.
by the way.
I love it. We're
This is
33
bizarre.
minutes in. Let's finally talk about this. So again,
Okay, so
one more time,
the overall
Michelle.
framing
Yes.
story. I really like how I know you don't like this, but I liked that it constantly just brought back in or like this discussion about aliens and whether footage is believable or not, because I did not know and figured that everything was alien related. And so to me, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool because it is having us like talk about whether we should question what we're seeing in these segments. So that actually wound up being a plus for me. That said, we spent an hour and 40 minutes building up to the tapes that we inevitably saw. And then they made it sound so much cooler than it would, especially when they showed all these like alien investigators talking about like, whoa, that's really disturbing. I never want to see that again. And I was like, I mean, it wasn't great. But the throat cam thing is something I saw at the Blue Man group just a couple months ago. They did that to an audience member, and it wasn't that bad. So I just felt kind of like, I liked it until the reveal. I would have preferred if it was just this discussion with the experts, and then we never actually saw the video. I think this would have been one of those where you benefit from not seeing it and just letting your mind go wild. What'd you think about it?
Well, first of all, Michelle, I didn't say that I disliked everything alien about this film. I appreciate you implying that at the
No.
beginning.
Oh my God. I am not implying that you dislike that it's everything alien. I'm saying that the fact that you thought and were correct that it was sci-fi, having it constantly hammered home about the alien thing is probably not your favorite, and you would have preferred a more general sci-fi overall story.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so abduction, adduction. I agree. What I like about this is that even though as a frame story, it doesn't directly tie in with the other ones. Like for example, the way like the early VHS films did. I like that this takes advantage of the fact that it's going to play out in separated segments. And I think it does a really good job of building a certain amount of what's coming. What's coming. And then I agree with you 100%. When we finally get there, frankly, like I've seen, like I didn't see it at Blue Man Group, but I've seen that video. I've seen
Yeah.
significantly like that's barely like that's med school stuff,
Yeah,
right?
I frequently look at my own
In
larynx.
yeah,
Yeah.
in my senior year in high school in our anatomy and physiology class, we watched a video of a lens replacement surgery on a human eye. All right? So what I thought was about to happen when they started going into the mouth is I thought we were going to ultimately follow that cam like all the way down into his abdomen, and there was going to be just like festering alien eggs and stuff down in there or something. When it got to his vocal cords there and then it just stopped, I was frankly really disappointed. Like it was a real just sort of deflation, and that's I don't know if it just overdid it on building up. I think maybe the expectation, but I agree with you completely on how that one worked for you.
Good. We're in agreement about that.
So the first chapter story, shall we
Yeah.
say,
Stork.
is Stork. How'd you feel about Stork? Or do you want me to go
Uh,
first on this one?
Mel will go first because he
Okay.
asked. And then we'll swap out because the next one's your favorite.
Ooh,
So
yes.
Stork, I really like the action scenes. There are several squelches. I feel it. I missed some, but I will be rewatching this, so that's fine. But here's what I can say. It's the first segment of a VHS film, and this is where it felt like, okay, we are definitely out of indie territory, and we are into a spot where these people have at least a little bit of a budget to work with, because I felt like the effects were all incredible. Like this is nothing looked way too CGI to take you out of it. I have a feeling there were a lot of practical effects used. The chainsaw camera is just great. I thought they were really creative with how they used all of that. And it felt solid. I think just the ending kind of fell apart for me a little bit, but at the same time, like the actual stork looked really cool. So I can't hate it. It just didn't it wasn't set apart from everything else. It felt like something I've kind of seen before, but I didn't mind that. It was done better than other things I've seen. What were your thoughts on the stork?
Stork was like if I'm ranking all of these from top to bottom, like I mentioned earlier, I would have to say Fur Babies was number 6. I think, or actually no, I would say a tie for 5 and 6 with Fur Babies and Abduction Adduction, and then right
Mhm.
above them for me is this one, and not for like I agree with you, and that is something that is I don't know exactly how to feel about that with the franchise. Is the franchise is definitely getting more and more budget, and it's definitely changing its identity in a way. Like these are still, shall we say, independent in the sense that they're not tied in with major studios. But yeah, There's and that's what I loved the most about Stork is I thought the special effects were great. I thought my biggest issue with it that made me not enjoy it, I think, is probably part of what you liked. Is I didn't really like the very like first person shooter video game aspect of the whole thing. It's obviously very reminiscent of that visual experience,
Hmm.
and it gets a little hectic. Like it's already crazy enough with the camera shaking around, and then you got all the noises and blasts from the guns. And as you and I have discussed plenty of times before, there does reach a point where something is so chaotic that I just can't stay connected with it, and that kind of happened here for me. Now that being said, I thought the weird alien baby hybrid things were super creepy. I was like when the stork first showed up, my initial reaction was a laugh, but not in like a bad way. It took me a moment to really be like, whoa, because that was not at all what I was expecting. And when I saw it, it took me a minute, but by the time I recovered from being punch drunk by it, I was like, all right, that's pretty all right. And so yeah, it just was a little too chaotic for me, and I wasn't really able to get into it right away.
Yeah, I did find the one zombie-esque guy who was smiling while holding the baby very unnerving though.
Yeah,
That's
for
one of
sure.
the moments from this that's like super, ugh, did not like that guy. Really well done
Yeah, my
for that
favorite
part as
parts
well.
were when it slowed down.
Yeah, fair. Not slowing down would be the momentum of this movie because then we got Dreamgirl next.
Yes.
JD, what did you love so much about Dreamgirl besides the fact
Uh
that she's a sexy little robot lady?
oh Jesus Christ. What the
No, that's my favorite thing about it, that she's
Oh,
the music video, She
that's
Can't Be Tamed. God
I
damn, it's a Bollywood
I
Miley Cyrus.
I really do need to start talking to a therapist as soon as possible because literally everything you're saying tonight, I'm like, what are you passing judgment on me? It's like, oh, JD's got a type. We all know what it is. Blah blah blah.
Did
You
you
did.
see her abs and the way they
I
wiggled
did.
like a snake?
Oh, I did. I did.
Okay.
I absolutely
Yeah,
did. No.
of
Uh.
course. She's a sexy
Um.
little dream girl.
What I loved about this movie is like as with a lot of found footage stuff, it does that thing where it's very almost like boringly mundane for a while. And so you got these guys, they're paparazzi, they're trying to get, shots they can sell of famous people. And there's this very subtle moment early on in the movie when they're going to take photos of the lady who turns out to be a robot, where they talking about like who even is she? She just kind of came out of nowhere a couple of years ago, and now she's the biggest thing in the world or whatever. Which is all it took to sort of lay a little bit of groundwork when we get to the big reveal. I thought it built up to that really well. I thought for a while, I obviously there's that face. I knew something was going on with the dancer, but I wasn't 100% sure. And then once they pulled the trigger on this one, everything from that point forward was my favorite part of this entire film. The robot just going nuts, all the crazy red lightning effects, just fucking blood splattered everywhere, people's faces getting split in half, just all, I loved everything about it. And frankly, there's only one other title in the entire thing that came close, and we've already mentioned that I thought it was the next one, Live and Let Dive. But no, I just the last portion of this was just so rad to me. I don't know. I liked that it was a killer robot. I think the fact that it was one of the different things definitely plays into my extra appreciation of it. But no, I fucking loved this. What did you think of Dream Girl?
What's really cool about it is that this is obviously found footage because it's VHS, but they found themselves in a movie studio. So then that gave them a lot of ability to play with
Yes.
different cameras, because not only
Yes.
did the two guys have cameras, there was a security camera, there were the different cameras so that we could watch what was actually just a music video for a while. So that was really cool. I also like how squelchy it gets. Whole lot. There are at least seven squelching subtitles, and I will have to go back and rewatch this because I know I missed some. This is a very bloody VHS, and it's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's what I like
Oh.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But so this one was just
Also,
kind
the
of one
real
of your
sexy
middle
lady.
ground ones.
Yeah, no, just I like that
Um.
she's a robot. I like that she's a pretty robot, and then that I like that she's mostly a pretty robot, but she just has a dude's face on her head and one laser eye, and now she's just gonna go talk to the paparazzi for a while.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I like that.
I don't know this writer director Virat Paul. I know that the name is Virat Paul or Virat Pal, and every time I looked at it, I thought it was Viral Pat. I kept flip flopping, which apparently I definitely have a little bit of dyslexia. But yeah, I was like Viral Pat. Who is Viral Pat? I want to
Pretty
know.
cool thing about Virat Paul is when I was going back to read stuff and what people thought about this, they were very active in the Reddit threads, and they were just happy that people liked what they put out there. So I thought that was pretty cool that VHS still has like names that aren't gigantic to the point where they're too
That's
big to
rad.
go just talk to people on Reddit about a movie. So that was really cool. Just being a humble person. You get bonus points for that.
Sweet.
I thought that was neat.
Yeah,
Okay, live and
apparently
let die.
I was just gonna say, apparently
Yeah.
Virat Paul has a few other short films over the last couple of years, and did a feature called Recapture back in 2016. That, interestingly enough, is currently rated on IMDb at 9.5. I have to believe there's only like one person who's rated it, right? No,
I was gonna say
19
how many
ratings.
reviews? Well,
19
that's still.
reviews, and it's a 9.5. I gotta see if I can find this. Virat Pal,
I gotta watch this and bring its
Viral
score
Pat.
down.
Yeah. Shut up. You are the
No,
worst.
I'm just gonna
Bring
go be
its
an
score down.
arch enemy of your pal. I'm coming for
No.
you.
Yeah, really, really enjoyed that one. And to be honest, was really into it even before it ended up being the like one of the only ones that was a little bit not alien. I
The
was
lyrics definitely. I knew something was up
yeah,
because
for sure.
those lyrics are very coded.
Oh yes. So
Like
next title is Live and Let
live
Dive.
and let
So this
dive.
is the one we were definitely agreed on, and you told me that this is one that people are pretty much universally enjoying, yeah?
Yes,
Why don't you give us
absolutely,
your
self
thoughts on it?
included. Um, God, the camera work in this one is incredible. Unfortunately, this is the first time in a very long time that I have gotten motion sick from a found footage movie. It's been a while. This one did it, and that sucked because it's one of my favorites. I do plan on taking some Dramamine and trying to watch it in more detail next time. But once they get on the ground, things got a little too shaky for me, and I had a hard time with it. But this is really, really genius camera work. The way that they're passing the camera between the characters while they're in the plane and establishing who they are and not being so overt with it that you're convinced you know everybody's relationship, and like they're not assuming the audience is dumb. It's clear like these people are together. This is a friend. This is potentially this guy's wife, like that kind of thing. And then the way that they reveal the UFO, I don't know how they filmed this unless they actually filmed it in a plane, because the way that they look out the window and it's a great view that is so blocked by the plane wing and just not having the visibility to see very much. That was all very, very smart. And then when they just fall out of the plane, um, absolute chaos. The one guy is falling and he's missing a leg. Somebody else is falling faster than he is, with an alien holding on to them. There is chaos, and I really could not get enough of that. And then when he hits the ground and finds out what happens to his friend, That's insane. The way everybody dies from that point forward. The alien design, it's not practical. It's very weird. They're electricity based, and I feel like we don't see that a whole lot where you can shock somebody, and that's like one of their main attacks. I like an electricity based alien as opposed to like some sort of technology that we don't understand. Electricity, we all understand, and that's scary. It's just it's solid. I was fascinated the whole time, and I was excited every time they found a person who was alive because I wanted to see how they would die next. So Live and Let Dive was arguably it. I was like, there's no way they're gonna top this, and I don't know if they necessarily did with Stowaway, but Live and Let Dive is just perfect use of the found footage format, and I
Yeah,
loved it.
I really enjoyed it. First of all, Michelle, crazy as it may be to think, I'm pretty sure that whole thing was just done, like
One
maybe
shot.
well, no, I mean the plane stuff with the view out the window. I'm pretty sure the
Oh,
view out the window is just green screen. Like
I know, but like the fact that they were able to do
oh,
that
it's so
is
good. Yeah, it
it
looks really
feels like
good.
there's no way that they did this without
Right.
being in a plane is what I mean. Like I know technology is
Sure.
crazy and they can do it, but like the it's so realistic that at the very least they must have had a plane on the set with like green screen. It's got to be a real plane though. It's got to be, right? I want
Make
to know
sure
how
to
they made it.
Now I got to make sure to jot down on my notes to talk to my therapist about takes people saying I have no idea how they did this literally every time. Oh god. No, I understand exactly what you're saying.
I
But
want to see the end-to-end process. Show me the behind the
uh,
scenes of
right?
this found footage.
So much of this I did really enjoy. One of my first favorite things about it is in those shots out the window. I love how subtly the UFO appears the first time and then they're away
Yes,
from it
yes.
because I didn't see it the first time. And so all these people were talking about, like, some of them saw it, some of them said they didn't see it, to the extent that I had to admit, and then of course I see it the second time because it's a lot more clear. It's right out there
Hmm.
in the open. But I had to immediately rewind 10 seconds and see if it was actually there the first time. And of course, then I saw it because I was actively looking for it. But that was really effective. I like the way this is a really frankly, this movie is the reason why so many 90-minute feature length movies like this are so dull to me, because you can do it in 20 minutes, right? The way they build up the reveal of the alien was awesome. You get just little flashes of it and you get more and more and more. That alien design is fucking great. It's like somewhere between like these angular insect arachnid type alien designs we've seen all over the place for the last 30 years, and then like just a weird John Carpenter's The Thing, David Cronenberg mutated screaming mad George body creature. I loved it. I loved that alien. I do need to correct myself. This is the one where people's faces were flapping open in half because of that fucking laser whatever that the aliens were shooting out of their faces. I even liked that, like you said, when the aliens were shooting that stuff out of their faces. What a great creature design, and so unique among what we've seen in alien creature design for so long. When that dude, they pan up and that dude's head has been ripped from his body and there's all that stringy bits between. God damn, the effects were so good here. Just, yeah, like I said, it's. I do still think I preferred Dream Girl, but this is like 1A, right? It's not even a 2. It's right there, like that. Those two right back to back. I was like, holy shit, if they keep this up, this might be a 5er. And then, can we move on, or do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that is a great way to segue into fur
Yeah,
babies.
so, yeah, because I was like, if they keep up this pace, and then we get to Fur Babies, which I've said is the one that I was the least interested in, or that I had that worked for me the least. Like I said, one of the biggest things for me is because I was coming in thinking this was a sci-fi horror anthology. This is the furthest from sci-fi that this gets. Yeah, you got a mad scientist Frankenstein person or whatever who's sewing dog parts onto people and turning them into people dogs. So there's definitely a little bit there. But it felt more just like this is the most straightforward, just creepy, gross horror in the entire thing. Let me tell you the first thing I really liked about it and actually enjoyed is the fact that the character who hosts the show, what's her name? Is it Angela? Is
Darcy
she the one?
or
Darcy, yeah.
Darcy.
At least I think, very obviously, a tip of the hat in the costuming and the attitude and the way the character is portrayed to Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes in Misery.
Yep.
I was
a
like,
lot of
oh
people made that
yeah,
comparison.
yeah. It's just like the haircut, the turtleneck underneath the long sleeve. It's a completely different style of those arrangements, yeah. So I really liked that. Here's one, and this is not even the movie's fault. This is very similar to some things that have happened in other movies. There are sometimes things that I know. A good example I've thought of recently, or I can point to from recent, is in Beetlejuice. Obviously Jeffrey Jones played the Charles Dietz character in the original film, and Jeffrey Jones, if you don't know, has some real terrible shit that came out a whole lot later. I'm not going to talk about it. You can Google it if you really want to know. And then, they have to mention that character in the movie, but they also, show repeated images of his face, and I'm like, look, obviously we can't take that out of the old movie, but we didn't have to have it and ultimately it just became a distraction that kept pulling me out of the suspension of disbelief. And there's a similar thing that happened here. I tell that story to tell this story. This kept reminding me, and I'm not going to say the name of it because maybe other people haven't seen it. This kept reminding me so much of another thing that Justin Long has done that I just kept thinking about that, and it pulled me out of the overall experience. Do you know what I'm talking about, Michelle? What other title I'm talking about?
I have a feeling I do because I had the same comparison in my head, but it didn't pull me out. I just went, I
Yeah,
bet that's the Justin
and
Long one because I've seen this.
that's exactly what I was saying earlier. That's the thing that made you think, oh, this has got to be the Justin Long one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's it. And again, it's not the short's fault. It's just this thing that because I happen to know it, it just kept, and because of how this is similar to that other thing, it just kept bringing it up and getting in the way. And that part definitely, I will definitely say that part is probably my fault. I should have probably avoided waiting or looking to at least, because I did look ahead and see which segment was which director. I probably should have avoided doing that. But I think even had I done that and not known, I probably would have had the same experience as you in figuring it out, and I think it still would have been the one in the film that worked for me the least. So that's why I didn't care for that one so much. What were your thoughts on Fur Babies?
I really like when people just decide to be amateur surgeons on unwilling victims. So that's like a very specific genre I can get behind. Um, and I did not predict where this was gonna go at all. I thought it was going to be like really bad animal abuse. I did not think she was turning people into dogs. And that was a fun reveal for me. And then the fact that she has other people who have fully become dogs. Um, think that's a bizarre concept. And that was one where I thought, because at this point I was still thinking, kind of alien. I was like, are there aliens behind? I could not figure out like how it was connected to the alien thing. And like Dream Girl, that one I was like, maybe we stretch and that's fine. But so far the entire thing has been aliens. And I kept expecting her to be an alien, or like she had a piece of alien technology that once she sewed these people together, she would like use it and fully transform them. And then that never actually happened. So I do like that that one's slightly comedic in like a really dark and weird way. And the things that she does are actually super fucked up. So I think the fact that it was so dark really let me give it a pass. And I don't know, I like people becoming amateur surgeons, follow your dreams. If there's a person from like the ASPCA and you don't like them, turn them into a dog. Go for it. Live your dream.
There was I actually, while I was watching this, I had a thought in my head where I was like, oh, like the pitch line for this movie is it's like this meets this. One of them was that other Justin Long movie that we both know which one we're talking about. And the other one, anyway, I bring it up because I realized immediately after I thought of it that it's like, no, but I can't even ever use this description because it's going to spoil things about both of those movies. But the other one, there was a movie you and I both saw earlier this year, and we talked about another one that involves
I also know the other
people
one.
and dogs. Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's like
I
that
made both those
Justin Long.
connections.
Yeah, it's like
Yep.
that Justin Long thing meets that people and dogs thing, and it's yeah.
Here's my final comment on fur babies.
Uh-huh.
Wow. A guy named Long made such a good short.
Oh Christ.
Okay, moving on.
I do actually want to say I'm glad you
Jenna
took a
smiled
moment.
for the
Of
record, and
course
she doesn't
she
even know what
did.
I'm talking about.
I was really delighted by the way they definitely incorporated so much like modern like pet lover slang, like the
Yeah,
old fur babies and the
fur
rainbow
babies.
bridge and all that stuff. I was
I
like,
also
okay,
just
this is
love bad taxidermy. I'm a
oh
big fan of
yes.
bad taxidermy.
Yes, yes. I
It's pretty
still want
good.
to know what happened to the third dog.
He's he crossed the rainbow bridge for real somehow. I don't know. I
All
don't
right,
know because she's just digging these guys up. Yeah.
sure.
Last one.
Yeah.
Last one.
So what I'd like to do here, Michelle, is I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a little bit about how I felt about this one, and then I want you to be able to close the episode telling us how you felt about it. Does that sound good?
That sounds excellent.
Okay, so as you can tell from our evaluations, this is one of them that fell kind of in the middle for me. And I bet you can probably guess that one of the reasons it fell in the middle for me is that it's one of the most, in certain ways, it's one of the most vague bits of storytelling. I'm thinking in particular of like, obviously from all the little weird flashbacks in the video, the little weird glitches in the video, and with the little dinosaur toy, we know there's a child. We can probably deduce that something happened to the child and that perhaps contributed to this lady. Maybe she was an actual journalist somewhere at one point, but she kind of went off the rails because of that. Started getting into all this conspiracy stuff. I really liked the design of the alien stuff in here. That swimming sphere that reflects the light before, and then just kind of opens up the door as going in. I liked all of the stuff that's going on inside. I really especially liked the fact that these were not hostile aliens. Right? And then, of course, the horrific element is, and they do this very subtly, she gets injured, and then the nanobots come out and fix her. But if you notice, they don't quite fix her exactly right, because they probably have a general understanding of this type of biology, but they don't necessarily know humans, like earthbound Homo sapiens specifically. So they're doing the best they can. And then the ship goes into outer space, and she's not in the safety tube, and just gets fucking obliterated. I don't know why I'm just recapping the plot. I enjoyed this up to a point, and then the ending sequence is so kind of, it becomes very like uh 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's this very sort of vague and chaotic and kaleidoscopic, even though it's all in black and white. This sort of thing, and there's never any resolution about that whole thing with the kid. But all of that being said, it's Flanagan, it's Siegel. I thought it was really well done. A totally unique visual experience from the rest of the film. I did enjoy it, but because of things about the story, it didn't connect and resonate with me quite so much, because it had that vagary thing that gets in the way for me sometimes.
Uh, all the reasons I like it are basically the reasons you dislike it.
And that's
Yeah.
why I said, not just because, again, because it was the Kate Siegel and Mike Flanagan one, but that one genuinely felt like, even if I hadn't seen your post, I would have been like, this is gonna be the one that we come out of this that Michelle just fucking loves. And would you say
Yeah.
this was your very favorite of all of them?
Yes. This
Yeah.
one is terrifying.
You have the
None
floor.
of
Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So none of the other ones legitimately disturbed me. And this is the only one that did. Everything else felt so light in comparison. The beginning, fine. Typical alien hunting movie, interviewing the locals, gonna go camp out in the desert, find a light. When she actually gets to the spaceship, that's pretty cool. And then getting to walk around and explore inside of there, all that was fine. I wasn't completely wowed by it. When the ship takes off, it it blew me away in the way that it blew her away. Because then her waking up and explaining the amount of force that she was under and how the things didn't fully repair her in the way that they had to, and then knowing that just kept happening and it's becoming more distorted, and we don't know what she actually looks like, but she's begging for them to stop, and this is a 28-year trip. Just all the implications of that ending were horrifying. And I immediately had to go try to find more information about this. And of course, there isn't, because that is the appeal of this. But I think this like disturbed me, like truly down to my core, because that is such a terrible fate. One of the comments when I was trying to find like other people like me who were just like, what the fuck did I just watch? Somebody compared it to I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream, which is one of like the scariest short stories, I think. And that is 100% accurate. Just being stuck living this existence, even though you don't want to. When it took that leap, it was a huge jump to a terrible, terrible conclusion for that lady. And we still don't know what actually happened in the end. But she probably dealt with that for 28 years, and who knows what she came out as. And like, did she starve to death and then would have to keep coming back and then starving to death again? To what extent? Like what was happening? At one point I definitely saw she had way too many teeth. And that is not a thing that should ever be said about anything. Snails, I learned, have thousands of teeth. And that made me dislike snails a little bit, because nobody, nothing, that's too many teeth. Like if you have more than 40, humans, if you have more than like however many an average human has, like that's already bad. If any other creature has like 50 teeth or more, sharks, multiple rows of teeth, uh-uh. Babies with teeth in their skull, uh-uh. Lady in space with 100 teeth where the rest of her face should be, no thank you. I think this ending is just, it's gonna haunt me for a while. And I had already figured out this must be the Kate Siegel one because of that monologue about her being a bad mom. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's why we've got the emotional impact. And I didn't expect much. And I think that if not for such a horrible, horrible ending for this lady, it would have just been a very middle one for me. But I have not been able to stop thinking about that and what a terrible existence it would be to be constantly repaired over and over and over again.
Oh yeah,
Awful.
even reminiscent of another movie that we've talked about before. No, I don't want to say the name of that one either because I don't want to give anything away. Never
Can
mind,
you
I'll
give
tell you
me a
afterward.
hint that won't give it
Uh,
away?
it was a request, kind of a war related movie.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know which
I
one?
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it kind of reminded me of that. Honestly, the thing that was the breaking part of, because all of that I loved. Let me tell you, the biggest moment of tension for me is when, like you said, when they launch off the surface into orbit, and she goes through all that pressure, and there's that great effects shot where like her face is stretching out in different ways from the pressure and whatnot. And then in somewhat rapid succession, she's talking about how much pressure, and then she mentions, "Oh, that must be why you need to be in one of those gooey chambers." And then she says, "Oh shit, here comes the new push." And the moment she said that, and you realize that jump is going to be so much more powerful than the one she just experienced. And man, the effect they show, like, she is particulate matter, right? Like, she has been splatterfied. Reminds me a lot of the origin story and I don't mind because it is the origin story of the dude from Watchmen, the big blue guy. Just
Oh,
that concept of
yeah.
Dr. Manhattan.
Thank you.
Just that concept of being just completely just obliterated, and then even from that, these robots can come back and put you together. First of all, what must be going on in that alien society that led them to have a technology that can do that? But again, where it took me out was all of the stuff with her daughter. And I get, there's that monologue about her being a bad mom and all of that. But when they put that in, the experience I have now is I either wanted none of that, or once it's there, I need more. I was hoping for more resolution or more context for that portion of the story, and I never got it. And I know some people can deal with that. We've talked about it a bunch of times before. It just, that stuck in my craw a little bit and sort of brought this one down overall. Here's what I love about this movie. So much rad body horror, Michelle.
I know.
Like the whole
Yes.
movie, even, I mean, VHS Beyond, not just
I know.
Stowaway.
Yep.
Okay, just rad body horror all throughout this. Did you have a single favorite special effect or moment throughout the entire film overall?
The parachute beheading his friend.
Yep. Yeah, I was
That
exactly
is
what
a
I was going to
great
say.
effect.
It's just
Great effect.
phenomenal.
Great reveal.
Yep.
Nothing,
Great gore. Oh,
none of that
jeez.
is what I expected. If you had said his
Yeah,
friend died, that would be the last way I would have like guessed that that
for
happened.
sure. For
Oh
sure.
man. Yeah, this is a really solid one. It might be my favorite out of all the VHSs because there's nothing that I think I disliked.
Yeah.
There were some that I didn't like as much as the other, but God, I'm really excited for more VHS.
Yeah. And I
These
do
are
want to
so my
say,
shit.
even with the fact that Fur Babies didn't quite work for me so much, I do still want to say that I can tell, and I think it was very well made, and I can definitely see how other people would very much enjoy it. And I agree with you. There's nothing in this that I was actively like, oh, can we just get this over with? I didn't enjoy, like, I didn't find anything at all in it that I liked. And like I said, this one was good enough that at the very least, I'm going to go back and check out VHS 94 one more time to see if maybe my thoughts on that one have changed. And then we'll see about 1, 2, and Viral somewhere down the line, maybe.
1 is pretty good.
Is that the
So,
one that has the Ty West one, or is 2 the one that has the Ty West one?
I don't remember.
I
I
think
just know
it's
that there's a
2.
succubus in the first one that I really like.
I know there's one that's in 2 that's in like Indonesia or something like that, and there's like a whole thing. Anyway, that's fine.
The Timo Gianto one with the
Oh,
cult.
is that Timo? Yeah, okay.
Is that the second one? Yeah.
Yeah, in VHS 2. That makes sense.
Yep, that's
Clear,
true.
that's a Timo joint. Anyway, I don't have anything else to say about VHS Beyond except Shudder just keeps on keeping on bringing the hits. You have anything else you want to add?
I hope that the audio did not pick up John snoring. That's all I have to say.
I didn't hear any of it. If I do catch it in the edit while I'm putting this together,
Leave it
definitely gonna amplify it. Oh, I'm not just gonna leave it in.
please
I'm
do.
gonna amplify it for the world to hear.
I'm pretty sure there was a single fart, and that was him and not me, for the record.
Well, I would have blamed it on Jenna to split the difference, but hey, go ahead.
You're right. It is Jenna. You are right. It was neither of us. I was throwing her under the bus. She's nodding. She agrees.
Oh, fair enough. All right.
I am going to see if she'll watch VHS Beyond with me tomorrow, so I can rewatch it and catch the squelches I missed.
Yeah, that's I'm starting to think that if they keep up this pace of doing one of these, there's actually something I wanted to ask you before we wrap up. What the fuck is the next one gonna be?
I don't know, because now we've expanded past just years, which is why I had no idea what Beyond was going to be. Because like that's not a year. Beyond is not a year.
We're gonna do like Western horror, like a bunch of cowboy spookums.
VHS rodents. All of them are involving
Hail Route
rats and mice and ferrets. I don't know if ferrets are technically a rodent.
They are.
That's all I got. Okay.
I'm pretty. Wow. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Weasels. Who's a weasel? Bobby Heenan.
Ferrets.
He was the weasel. Anyway, we got to get out of this before it gets any weirder. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShudder.com, where you'll find our world-famous, patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShudder on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShudder.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShudder.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media.